Well, hello, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Monday, December the 23rd, 2024. Whew, year's almost gone, y'all. Listen, Lulu stops by to talk to Tracy. Oh, she's got to find Charlotte's got to find Charlotte. And Tracy told her, Lulu, the FBI is looking for Charlotte. The WSB is looking for Charlotte. Give them some time to locate her. He says, what's your plan? You just gonna jump on a plane and go from here to there to anywhere? How would you expect to be able to find her? What is your plan? And Lulu just looked, right? And she says, and Lulu, Rocco has been waiting for you for 4 years. Don't ignore your son who is right here. It's Christmas time. You're right. Yep, you're right. Thank you, Tracy. And Brooklyn was at the top of the stairs looking down like, oh, I can't stand her. Oh, you know. And so she was in the kitchen and Chase came in and she was saying, don't get me wrong. For Rocco and for Dante, I'm happy Lulu woke up. But as for me, I can't stand her. Everything revolves around Lulu. Everything. She's all in, Tracy. And grandmother just gushes over her. Just, oh, her Lulu, her Lulu. And so Chase looked at her, and I think Brooklyn may have said, I'm jealous. Or Chase may have said, no, yeah, Chase says, are you jealous, Brooklyn? And she goes, no, but I just don't like how self centered Lulu is. And I'm thinking, wow, isn't that pot calling the kettle black? Because Brooklyn wants all the attention to be on her. So, anyway, Chase says, when I first came to Port Charles, I actually had a crush on Lulu. And Brooklyn looked at him like, not you too. Right? And then he's like, oh, but you're the only woman for me. And blah, blah, blah. So kissy, kissy. Um, Geo was at Royce Plaza. Everybody else was there. Anna was there getting a gift. Um, Jordan was there. Isaiah ran into her. He gave her a gift. And he goes, I'm glad I ran into you. And he gives her a gift bag. And she looks, she goes, for me? He goes, yes. And she took it out. She goes, a towel? He goes, a Velcro spa towel. This way, your towel has no jeopardy of slipping off. And Jordan looks at him. She goes, I'll have you know, my towel was never in jeopardy of slipping off. And Isaiah looked down at her. Jordan's not that much shorter than him, but looked at her and said, boy, I know, boy, don't I know it. Like, man, I was wishing that towel was gonna slip. and and you look, and you held that towel up well, girl. You wore it well. So anyway, she smiled, and he goes, listen, I have to go to GH. I took on, a shift so that others could be off. And so Jordan said, oh, well, you're gonna see my son there. TJ is working. He's had to cover, or he had to pull a double because the hospital was shorthanded. And so she goes, so tell my son hi. And Isaiah was like, okay. I think my internet's lagging. I'm seeing myself lag. But anyway, um, he leaves, and Jordan, the way she looked at him, and just as he handed her the gift, I thought, look, she is gorgeous. I got a picture of her. Look at how pretty Jordan is. And the way she's just looking at him. I hope they don't throw Molly in the mix. I really, really hate for that because these two got some chemistry going on, and I would love to see it blossom. Okay. So anyway, back to well, Brooklyn. He does Chase does his thing. Ned, Tracy, and Lois were in the little family room sitting. They were reveling over Michael stealing Aurora right from under Drew because he deserves it. They were just talking about him like a dog. And so Tracy was saying how, look, no, no, no. Listen, everybody, do you hear that? And they were like, what? Quiet. Peace and quiet in the house. Because see, Danny is with Jason. Rocco's out with uh Dante. And Ned said when the show first began, Jason was walking through the kitchen. Ned said that Olivia and Leo were out ice skating. And he was putting together a little cheese tray. So anyway, the whole house was pretty much clear because remember, Scout is with Drew. So Lois says, well, hopefully this time next year, Chase and Brookie will have a little bundle of joy. And Tracy was like, ah, and there'll be a bunch of crying in the house. Oh. And there goes, watch it. You'll be talking about my first grandchild. And Lois was taking a sip of her champagne and she would, and then she kind of looked, but she looked away, and I thought, well, that's obvious. Of course, we all know Geo's going to be Brooklyn's, but Brooklyn doesn't know Geo's hers. And how Lois is keeping that secret from her daughter, I don't know. And why would she keep the secret from her daughter? I don't know. I We'll see how that comes out, and it's gonna come out soon. It really really is. Um, Geo was getting ready to leave Royce Plaza, and this girl bumps into him and says, "Hang on to this for me. I'll be back." She runs off, and it's a wallet, and he's looking like, "Why would a stranger give me a wallet?" And then he hears a man telling the police officers, she picked my pocket. My wallet is gone. My wallet is gone." Excuse me. And so he's looking like, oh, she's having me hold on to a stolen wallet, right? So she comes back and she goes, okay, okay, give me the wallet back. And he goes, now why should I do that? This is a stolen wallet. You stole it from that man over there. And she goes, I watched him rip off the old lady selling ornaments here. He paid for one and he took five. I just wanted to make sure she got paid what she's deserved. So I'm doing good. So he gives her the wallet. She takes all the money out. And then she goes over to, he goes, now what you gonna do with the wallet? And she just looked at him. So she walks over to a police officer walking by and said, Officer, I found this wallet. And she gives it to him. And he goes, thank you. I'll make sure it gets back to its rightful owner. So then somebody walks up to Gio, and I forget who. And they said, Gio, what are you doing here? He goes, I'm supposed to be at the Quartermains, and I am running late. He said, but I got distracted by that girl. And they're like, what girl? And he looks back over there. She's gone. And he's thinking, she took off with the money. Who knows? This is just going to be maybe she goes to PCU, and this is gonna be some troubled girl that Gio's gonna get involved with. We could see that coming because everybody else is good. This one's gonna be trouble. I see that. Um, Now Lulu finally shows up. Liz and Lucky are there. Laura's happy. Christina and Sonny show up. They were at Carly's. Remember, Brennan comes in, and I said, "Was my question was Sonny gonna leave him hanging?" Sonny didn't leave him hanging. Sonny shook his hand. But then he tells Carly, "Can I speak to you for a minute?" And she looks at him. Sure. So he takes her to the side and he goes, "You know what you doing?" And she says, "What?" "You invited WSB." She goes, "Jack and I are friends. Jack has done a lot of good things helping me out for the people we all care about. So he had no place to go for New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, and nobody should be alone for the holidays. So, yes, Sonny, I know." So, anyway, Christina ends up saying, Dad, we've got to get going if we're going to see them light the Christmas tree. She has his coat, so she helps him put on his coat. So Sonny wishes everybody, farewell, adieu. Michael and now Jason shows up with Danny. Jocelyn and Michael were on their way out the door because Donna and Avery wanted them to build a snowman family, on the ground so when they look out the window, they could see the family. And so they were like, "That's what we're getting ready to go do." And so Danny says, "Hey, can I join you?" And he looked at Jason. Jason's like, "If you want to." And they're like, "Yeah, the more the merrier." So he goes with them to help, make the snowman family. And Jason, and so Don Michael says, "Oh, just a heads up. Mom invited a guest for dinner." And Jason's thinking, "Oh, who?" So he walks in and he walks into the living room and he sees Carly, Carly, her flirt laughing, and Jack is, they're smiling at each other, you know, kind of half toasting with their glasses. And he looks, oh, like, and so she goes, "Oh, Jason, it's good you're here." And Jack stands up. Jason walks in and Jack says, "Oh, hello, Mr. Morgan," Jason Morgan, and he reaches out his hand to shake it. Jason just looks at it. Mm. So Jack takes his hand back, and I said, "Oh, Sonny shook it." Jason's like, "Nope." Right? So um, he tells Carly, "Carly, can I speak to you for a minute?" And she's like, "Oh, no, no. I think he went to the bathroom." Jack did. And he goes, "What are you doing with him?" "He's my guest for dinner. I invited him." And he goes, "Carly, I told you you cannot trust him." She goes, "Jack is my friend, and you are not the boss of me." Jason just looked at her like, "Here we go again, Carly, Carly, So uh Jason and Carly and Jack are kind of standing. Jason really isn't saying anything, but they're standing together. Carly and Jack are kind of talking. And Michael, Danny, and Jocelyn come back in the door. And Jocelyn and Michael are going to play war. And, chit chat, minor chit chat. And Jocelyn beats him. So Jocelyn invites Jack to play. Now, mind you, Jason, before Michael and Jocelyn started playing war, Danny says, "Do you mind if I go out on the terrace?" And Carly says, "No, go ahead. Help yourself." And Jason said, "I'm going with him." I said, "I'm going with you. I could use some fresh air." And he looks at Jack, and Carly is looking at him like, "Oh my God." So he and Danny go out on the terrace, and Jocelyn beats Michael. She eggs Brennan on to play. So he's sitting down because he said he doesn't know how to play war. And she goes, "I would think WSB knows everything about any variation of war," right? So anyway, he goes, "Okay, challenge accepted." So Danny and Jason are out there talking, and he's just like, building that snow family. It made me think of mom. And then he told Jason about one of his favorite days as a child. She let him play hooky the day before winter break because it was snowing. And she goes, we played in the snow for hours. And he goes, that was one of my best days ever. Right. And he goes, I wonder where mom's at right now. So he and Jason are looking up in the sky. And he goes, your mother's with you. And your mother's with me. She's wherever we are, she's going to be. And so Danny said, do you see that really bright star up there? And Jason says, yeah. And he goes, I would like to think that's mom looking down on us. And Jason was shook his head like, okay, I could see that, right? They had a really good father-son moment. Well, Lulu goes to find Dante and Rocco. So she's talking to Dante, and Rocco's over a few feet away looking on his cell phone, like he's texting. And so Lulu says, is he always on his phone? And so Dante says, teenagers, they live on their phones. Well, Rocco had gotten a text and it was from Charlotte. She was wishing him a Merry Christmas. And she, put her names in initials, right? Something, something C, right? Like a little nickname. He knew who it was from. And so he tilted his phone and he took a picture of Lulu because Lulu was kind of looking over at him, but she couldn't tell he was taking a picture of her and Dante, but he was really taking it to her. And he sent the picture to Charlotte. I guess Charlotte did not know Lulu was awake. Valentine probably didn't tell her because she would have wanted to come see her mother, right? So when Rocco sent the picture, Charlotte called immediately and he goes, hello? He's like, Charlotte? And so she's talking like she goes, I got it. Is she close to you? And he goes, yeah, she's close. And she goes, I want you could tell she said I want to speak to her. So he goes over to Dante and Lulu and he goes, Mom, can I speak to you for a minute? And Dante's like, you know what? You two go ahead. I need to do X, Y, and Z, check in with the precinct or whatever he said. So she says, yes, Rocco. And he goes, somebody wants to speak. Somebody's on the phone for you. She goes, somebody's on your phone for me? He goes, here. And so she took the phone and she's like, hello? And then she's like, oh, Charlotte. She goes, Charlotte, honey. And she walks away, over to get some privacy. Where are you? And Charlotte's like, Mom, and Charlotte's growing. At first, I had to look to see if it was a recast, but that's her. She just, her looks, she's actually getting taller. So, um, she goes, Charlotte, where are you? She goes, I can't tell. I'm not even supposed to be texting or calling anyone. So Lulu says, Charlotte, I have to see you. I have to lay my eyes on you. I won't tell anybody where I'm going. I won't bring anybody. It'll just be me, honey. But I gotta see you. So Charlotte told her where she was, and she goes, I'll be there soon. So she goes back to Rocco and she gives him her phone. Now, mind you, Lulu still don't, I don't know, does she have a phone? I, really? Did she get one? I mean, take a minute, go get a quick burner, go get anything, right? So anyway, he goes, did Charlotte tell you where she was? And she goes, yes, she did, honey. And I'm on my way to her right now. And Rocco looks at Lulu. She goes, listen, I need you to do me a favor. Do not tell anyone about the phone call. This needs to stay between me and you. Can you do that? And he looked at her and he's like, thinking, I don't keep stuff from dad, but okay, right? So she hugs him. She goes, I love you, Rocco. I am getting ready to make our family whole again. And half hugs, dashes right out. And so Rocco's looking at her as she just bolted, right, on Christmas Eve. And as she walked away, he goes, well, Merry Christmas, Mom. right? And I felt bad for him. So then when Laura lit the tree, took a little technical difficulties, but Laura finally lit that tree. But the thing is, to me, the tree had no contrasting in colors. And then with those white lights, it really almost didn't look like she lit the tree. A tree that is like snow dripped, a white tree with a bunch of white ornaments does not need white lights. To me, it needs some kind of color in those lights. But anyway, she lit the tree and everybody said, Merry Christmas, blah, blah, blah. And poor Rocco. Dante hugged him, side hug. Merry Christmas, son. And Rocco turned and looked behind him like, did she really go? My heart broke for him just a little tiny bit. I felt bad for her. And in my mind, I'm thinking, Lulu, what an idiot. Are you going through any of your protocols for your liver transplant? Are you taking him? I mean, oh my God, how reckless is she with this? And to me, how reckless is the writing for this liver transplant patient? It's just reckless writing. It's almost like it didn't even happen, right? Sam died for nothing, and Lulu just woke up on her own. But, whatever. So, Anna, everybody's having fun at Maxie's place. Anna's talking about her surprise, her surprise, her surprise was going to be here. Her surprise finally arrived, rang the doorbell, and it was Emma. Or should I say, a recast of Emma. All these years, every time they've shown Emma, it's been the original Emma. Why did they feel they had to recast Emma? That's one of the things I liked. Robin, from a little girl as of probably age 7 or 8 through now, Robin has never been recast. Emma, from age 5 through now, through earlier this year, had never been recast. But they did this time. This chick is taller. And I was like, well, look, Emma just didn't need to come for Christmas. If they needed to recast, they could have had Anna FaceTiming her. And all we see is a laptop screen or iPad, back of an iPad screen, and she's Googling and talking to Emma. I was like, oh my God, why would they do that? Anyway, and then half of me, when the show was over, thinking, was that the girl that pickpocketed? And then I thought, no, if for one, Emma would not do that. She's a med student. And for two, that girl was short. This recast of Emma is tall, which is interesting because the original Emma is short herself. But anyway, that's pretty much everything that happened. We just have not too much is going to happen through, I think, New Year, right? But anyway, let's go to Comic Corner. Comic Corner. Today, I'm going to go from the bottom up. Let me go to my trusty, dusty stopwatch. And I'm going to go from the bottom up. We have Lynn saying hi and everybody else tagging in saying hi. We have Yvette saying love Carly and Brennan. Love Curtis and family scenes. Wendy says Curtis needs to be careful when family members got beef, tread carefully. And then Lucy said, I love Marshall and Aunt Stella. There's something with those two. I know they just never expounded on that. Just K says, I love Slick. Oh, I forgot to talk about that. Thank you, Just K. I missed that in my notes. Rick and Alexis was so cute. The way they were frenemy and just not even friend, putting that dress in the tree. Alexis was hitting him with garnish as she's putting it on the banister, and he's as he's standing putting ornaments, on a table in front. He gets hit with a garnish, and then he's on a ladder, dwindling the little stuff that hangs. The what do you call it? Fringe kind of stuff that hangs. And she's at the bottom of the tree putting some ornaments, and he just lets the handful he had fall all over her head. And she stands up, looks up like, oh. So then she's wrapping the tree with lights. She wraps the lights around Rick's neck, around the back of him, goes around to the tree, and she pulls it so she could plug it in. And when she pulled it, it pulled Rick all into the tree, face all in the tree. And as he's trying to pull back, she lights him up. Now he's got lit lights around him. They were too funny. So Molly shows up at Royce Plaza, but she sees Sonny and Christina, and Sonny has his arm around Christina, and Molly just looks, and Molly just shakes her head, and she walks out. She doesn't even go down into the plaza. So Molly shows up at home, and she puts her gifts down on the porch, and she's getting ready to take out her key. And Alexis opens the door, and Rick is right behind her. And they say, "Merry Christmas, Molly." And Molly looks at the two of them like, okay, what is happening? Why are the two of you together? And so they said, come in. So she walks in and she sees the decorated house and the tree. And she looked at them and they said, we did this for you, Molly. And she's like, I love you too. Thank you. I needed this. And I felt good for Molly. She felt wanted. She felt like she had importance in their lives. In that moment, she felt good. And that made me feel good. That was a good scene. So just as I saw the word Slick Rick, then that made me remember I forgot to talk about that scene. So thank you. He's messy. Maybe he'll tell Michael about seeing Drew at Nina's with Willow and the kids just to start mess. He would. That will fuel Michael. Willow is just as fault with this affair. Yes, affair, emotional affair for months, and knocking boots on the kids' floor. The girl is Lulu. I miss Nell. And then uh, Andrea says, love Nell. She was the best female villain since Helena. Um, I mean, she threw her pregnant self down the stairs and blamed Carly, genius. Those were the days of good writing. Rick can represent me any day. He's a doggone good lawyer. Rick is creepy. Yeah, Nell was something else. Esme couldn't hold a candle to Nell, but they sure should have been sisters, right? Annette says, love your storyline. Okay, all right. And then Dacia says, it's Geo said if Uncle Sonny Corinthos hears about this, Drew is a dead man. Trina looked at Geo and Jocelyn both looked at Geo. And then Georgette said, everyone knows uh, that's how Sonny takes care of lots of his issues. Yeah. But I think he's going to kind of like he says, Michael, that's my boy. You see Michael doing the deal. As a matter of fact, Michael, and Carly were kind of toasting. Jack was playing cards with Jocelyn. Like, yeah, I can't wait for your next move, Michael. What you gonna do next? And Michael just looks. So Wendy says Willow has no regrets, no guilt. She's ready to move forward with Drew, her husband's uncle. I was glad to see Sonny and Josh trying to move forward. Thank goodness. So glad Carly listened to Sasha. Cody listened to Sasha. Little James was so glad to see him. Yes. Mac too. I think Curtis is making a mistake getting between the Quartermain family business. Um, it is dangerous. Curtis is so cocky with it. Contract or not, that family is shady. Well, Aurora has nothing to do with. Oh well, I take that back. Drew is now Quartermain, right? Yeah, he's still Drew Kane to me. Uh, Lucy says, Happy General Hospital end of year. Love Comment Corner. Love Comment Corner. Thanks for all you do. Recap lady. Thank you, Lucy. I know. You know, this is 2.5 years now that I have been doing this. 2.5. Wow. Aisha says, Willow, who lived with Michael, through his attempt to take Sonny down and his blackmailing Nina now thinks that maybe she never knew Michael. She should say, I mean, she should really worry about the company that she's now keeping, her hero and mommy dearest. As for her other accusations, Willow has been pretending for way longer than Michael. Yes, she has. And then Michelle says, I swear you're right about that one, but I can't wait to see that gullible witch face when she finds out her so called hero praising Drew was also sleeping with her mother and didn't tell her the truth, since her whole case in destroying her family is that long. Oh, I forgot to say, I don't do that anymore. Drew never lied to her. But Drew never lied to her. I know. And she gonna find out, right? Brenda says, how did Rick find out about Drew losing Aurora? And now Bold Willow wanted to act like Michael did wrong. She is a piece of work. She didn't have a choice when Solo Brain washed her and slept with her. Wait, washed her, brainwashed her, and sleeping with her. You must be talking when Shy or so. Yeah, yeah, I think you're still talking about Drew. And then Brenda says Willow kicked rocks. Do you know who your no girl? Please, Drew got you in your brains. Yeah, well, he's that's all she could think about is Drew. Remember? Aisha says if Sonny hadn't been so caught up with what's going on with Christina, he'd already known the whole story. Michael came to him first, that's true, but he got interrupted. Sonny didn't think of following up with his son after seeing Christina, that's true. And then Georgetta says, entitled Enabled Christina. And then Aisha says, unfortunately, Sonny isn't going to find it so satisfying when he goes off on Drew for hurting and betraying Michael. Drew will be able to quiet legitimately point the finger right back at Sonny for choosing to support Nina over Michael in their legal conflict over Wiley. The whole "you're a dead man to me" confrontation also on the account of Nina. Unlike Drew's back and forth with the Quartermains, these incidents are of recent vintage, not over 2, possibly 3 decades old. Yeah, the fight's a fight, you know. And then my last comment is let's see, Aisha, I read a few from you already. Let's go up to Tanya. Tanya says Jason switched the DNA test between Jax and Sonny and claimed it was his, but Sonny couldn't deal. They did lie to protect Sonny and Carly's marriage for part of Sam's pregnancy. Uh oh, okay. Then he came clean that she was Sonny's daughter, but Jason would be her everyday dad. When the baby died, the doctors asked to let the father say goodbye, and Jason was the only one who wanted to ever hold her. Oh, wow. Georgetta says Jason was so stupid, forever been Sonny and Carly's stool and lapdog. He has done everything, put his life on hold and everything for those two. But you know what? That's Jason, and that's what he's chosen to do, right? All right, everybody, that's it for Comic Corner. I'm at 11 minutes now. I'll be back tomorrow with another daily recap of General Hospital.